8 teams, 4 matches, 0 winners. I mean, if you looked at the World Cup standings for Groups G and H this morning, you'd honestly think the scoreboard was broken.
Oh, absolutely. It looks like a complete typo.
Right. Usually when you look at a tournament bracket, you expect, a hierarchy.
Yeah, you expect the heavyweights sitting comfortably at the top.
Exactly. And then maybe a plucky underdog holding on to second and someone trailing at the bottom, just already packing their bags.
But that is not what we're seeing today.
No, not at all. When we look at the breakdown we have in front of us today for this deep dive, our look into the Match Day 1 recaps and Match Day 2 previews for the 2026 World Cup, that standard hierarchy is just completely shattered.
It's the absolute definition of a statistical anomaly. We're staring at this tactical gridlock that has completely reset the tournament for these 8 nations.
Yeah, it's wild.
Match Day 1 effectively became a wash in terms of points, but it was a massive revelation in terms of psychology and strategy.
Okay, so let's unpack this for a second, because the reality of these 2 groups right now is almost unbelievable. Every single match in Groups G and H ended in a draw.
Every single one.
Every single one. That means we have 8 teams, and every single one of them has exactly 1 point.
Which is just crazy to think about.
Right. There are no leaders, there are no teams trailing on 0 points, and suddenly there are absolutely no clear favorites.
It's a totally level playing field now.
I want you, the listener, to just imagine being a fan right now, or honestly worse, being a manager in this scenario.
That sounds incredibly stressful.
How do you even plan for a group where everyone is perfectly tied? It's like an 8-way game of tug of war where everyone is perfectly matched, digging their heels into the mud, just waiting for one person's grip to slip.
That's a great way to put it. And to figure out whose grip is going to slip, we really need to analyze this from 2 distinct angles.
Okay, lay it out for us.
Well, I'll be stepping into the role of the tactical analyst here.
Right.
We need to look under the hood.
Right, get into the weeds.
Exactly. We're going to examine the formations, the structural integrity, the in-game adjustments, and, the underlying data that explains the mechanics behind these deadlocks.
Love that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to lean right into the role of the storyteller today, because tactics really only tell half the story.
Oh, for sure.
I want to talk about the emotion, the crushing weight of momentum, the panic, and those narratives being rewritten in real time on the pitch.
The human element.
Yes. Because to figure out who is going to break this deadlock on June 21st, we first have to understand the absolute chaos of Match Day 1.
Chaos is honestly the perfect descriptor. I mean, the traditional powerhouses were dragged right into the trenches.
They really, really were. Let's just recap the sheer madness of these results. You have Cape Verde holding a giant, Spain to a 0-0 draw.
Incredible performance.
And then you have Egypt securing a brilliant 1-1 draw against a star-studded Belgium squad.
Totally unexpected.
Plus, New Zealand and Iran delivering an absolute 2-2 thriller.
That was a fun one to watch.
And then Saudi Arabia just completely fearless.
Yeah.
Matching Uruguay blow for blow in a 1-1 draw.
Yeah.
So looking at the board, which result actually shocked you the most?
Well, the shock doesn't actually come from the final scorelines for me. It comes from the mechanics of how those scorelines were achieved.
Interesting. So what's your pick?
For me, the biggest revelation is Spain and Cape Verde. And what's fascinating here is that the reason why is rooted deeply in the tactical breakdown.
Okay, talk me through it.
So the match data shows Spain controlled roughly 70% of possession, which, is exactly what their identity demands. They dictate the rhythm.
Right, that's classic Spain.
But they completely lacked attacking efficiency against Cape Verde's disciplined defensive setup. And we have to be specific here.
Meaning they didn't just park the bus.
Exactly. Cape Verde didn't just randomly park a bus. They organized a highly compact 4-4-2 mid-block.
Okay, so very structured.
Very. They collapsed the space between their defensive and midfield lines to about 10 yards, which effectively cuts off those half spaces that Spain loves to exploit.
Right, so it's really just the illusion of dominance then. Spain is just passing the ball around the perimeter in this giant U shape, looking super busy, but actually doing 0 damage.
Yeah, that's what it looked like for most of the game.
I have to push back on the value of that kind of performance, though. Having all that possession without actually scoring, I mean, it's like a boxer throwing 100 flashy jabs in the center of the ring, dancing around, looking great, but completely forgetting how to throw a knockout punch.
That's one way to look at it, sure.
Does possession even matter if you can't finish?
Well, I mean, I have to disagree with the premise that possession is useless just because it didn't yield a goal in one specific match.
Really? You defend that performance.
Absolutely. Possession is the ultimate defense. You cannot concede if the other team is just chasing shadows all game.
Okay, that's fair, but they didn't win.
True, but Spain's system isn't broken. Their final pass was just off by millimeters. The metrics show they still generated high-quality chances.
I suppose the stats do back that up.
Yeah. If you hold the ball for 70% of the game, you are limiting the opponent's window to hurt you to a mere fraction of the match.
But the scoreboard doesn't award fractions of a point for completing 500 passes.
Well, no, of course not.
If you can't convert territorial dominance into goals, you leave yourself entirely vulnerable to a single chaotic counterattack.
Which is a risk, yes.
And that vulnerability is exactly what breeds the kind of pressure we are seeing now, which brings us perfectly to the emotional fallout of all this.
The pressure cooker.
Exactly. Those match day one surprises are pure joy for the underdogs. I mean, if you are Cape Verde or Saudi Arabia, you are riding a massive wave of national euphoria right now.
Oh, the confidence must be sky high.
But for the traditional giants, for Belgium, for Spain, for Uruguay, this creates a suffocating pressure cooker heading into match day two. Don't you think those huge expectations are just creating unnecessary paralyzing pressure?
Well, the external noise definitely becomes deafening. It changes the entire psychological landscape of their training camps.
It has to.
But the real question, tactically speaking, is whether the underdogs actually exposed structural, repeatable flaws.
Okay, give me an example.
Take Belgium. They have immense technical quality, a roster full of world-class talent playing for elite clubs.
The golden generation.
Right. But Egypt proved that you can neutralize a superior roster through tactical patience. They basically proved that resilience and capitalizing on key, isolated moments can totally neutralize that talent.
Let's talk about the how there. Because
How?
Egypt surviving Belgium honestly feels like a magic trick to me.
It was brilliantly executed.
How do you neutralize Kevin De Bruyne and that entire squad when you barely even have the ball?
You do it by dictating the space. Egypt basically played like a judo fighter.
Oh, a judo fighter. I like that.
Yeah, they didn't try to outmuscle Belgium in the midfield. They let Belgium push their numbers forward, let the Belgian fullbacks overlap and commit really high up the pitch.
Inviting the pressure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Egypt simply absorbed that weight, and the second Belgium turned the ball over, Egypt used Belgium's own forward momentum against them.
Wow, that's so smart.
It really was. They immediately bypassed the midfield with direct vertical passes into the massive pockets of space left behind by those attacking fullbacks.
So they didn't need a ton of possession.
Not at all. They only needed 2 or 3 perfect transitions to punish Belgium, and they got one.
The judo fighter analogy is brilliant, using the giants' weight against them. So, looking at these heavyweights who just got judo tossed or frustrated into a stalemate, who do you think is under the most pressure heading into June 21st? Spain or Belgium?
It's a tough call.
Because I look at Spain and honestly, I don't understand why the manager isn't hitting the panic button.
You think they should panic? If I'm in that dressing room, I'm terrified that we don't have a plan B. Are we giving too much credit to the underdog's discipline, or are these giants just tactically stagnant?
I wouldn't call them stagnant. Belgium is probably under more pressure, structurally speaking, because they actually conceded a goal.
Oh, that's a good point.
Spain's defense was never truly breached. But addressing your point about the panic button, if you're the manager of Spain, hitting that button is the absolute worst thing you can do.
Really? But they look so toothless.
If you completely change your system based on one 90-minute variance, you admit defeat to the pressure. You confuse your own players.
I have to challenge that, though. If your process results in a 0-0 draw against Cape Verde, and you just roll out the exact same system in match day 2, isn't that just pure arrogance? Do you just trust the process blindly?
It's not arrogance, it's playing the probabilities. The answer doesn't lie in a total tactical overhaul, it lies in micro-adjustments.
Micro-adjustments, like what?
Spain doesn't need to abandon possession. They just need to increase the tempo of their ball circulation.
Make the passes faster.
Exactly. If the passes move 20% faster, the Cape Verde defensive block doesn't have time to shift and reset. And that's how you create gaps.
Well, the margin for error for those micro-adjustments is now 0. That mounting pressure leads us directly into the crucible of match day 2.
Match day 2 is going to be wild.
June 21st. This is where the real identities of these teams are going to emerge. We have 4 matches on the slate that are going to determine who grabs the rope in this tug of war.
Let's get into it.
Let's break them down, starting with Group G, Belgium versus Iran. What are you seeing here?
Tactically, this is arguably the most fascinating matchup of the round. Belgium is going to come out looking to dominate possession again,
No surprise there.
right? They want to dictate the terms of the match through their technical quality in the midfield. But Iran isn't going to just sit back passively in a low block like Cape Verde did.
Because Iran showed some real teeth in their first match.
Exactly. The breakdown of their 2-2 draw with New Zealand showed incredible attacking creativity. Iran's game is built on quick vertical transitions.
They won't just park the bus.
No, they will absorb the pressure and then strike with really sharp line-breaking passes.
So the narrative stakes here are huge.
Mm.
Can Iran's flair frustrate another highly ranked opponent?
It's definitely possible.
And for Belgium, it's the exact same demon they faced against Egypt. Can they finally convert all that beautiful possession into 3 points without getting caught on the counter?
That's the million-dollar question.
The sources predict Belgium edges out a highly competitive 2-1 victory here. Do you agree with that?
I do, and that aligns with the tactical reality of tournament depth. Belgium's starting 11 might struggle for 60 minutes, but when legs get heavy, Belgium can bring a $60 million winger off the bench.
Yeah, that depth is insane.
Iran's counterattacking threat means Belgium will likely concede, but Belgium's sheer volume of attacking talent should eventually overwhelm Iran's defensive structure over the full 90 minutes.
Okay, moving to the other Group G clash. New Zealand versus Egypt. This feels entirely different. If Belgium versus Iran is a heavyweight bout, this is a chess match.
This is a battle of contrasting momentums for sure. New Zealand comes in with surging confidence.
They looked great scoring twice against Iran.
They really did. They know they can find the back of the net, and they showed real composure, refusing to be overwhelmed by Iran's pace.
But they are running headfirst into a wall now, right?
Exactly. They're running into an Egyptian side that just put on an absolute clinic in defensive organization and patience.
Which brings me back to the tortoise and the hare analogy. Egypt seems perfectly comfortable suffering without the ball being the tortoise and just waiting for the hare to tire itself out or make a silly mistake.
That's a very accurate assessment.
So which team can actually capitalize on limited opportunities and stay unbeaten? The forecast here suggests a narrow, tactical battle, with Egypt winning 1-0.
That outcome is highly probable because Egypt dictates the game state without needing the ball. Well, if New Zealand gets too confident from their 2-goal performance against Iran, they might push their fullbacks higher up the pitch looking for a win.
Leaving space behind them.
Right. Egypt has the discipline to absorb that, isolate New Zealand's center backs, and punish that exact overextension.
Now let's shift over to Group H, the real pressure cooker group.
Right.
Spain versus Saudi Arabia.
This one is going to be intense.
If you think New Zealand capitalizing on a mistake is dangerous, look at what Saudi Arabia is plotting against Spain. Spain's entire crisis right now is built on their vulnerability to the counter.
Yeah, Spain enters this match with an absolute urgent need to improve their finishing. They will, without a doubt, control the possession again.
But Saudi Arabia is no pushover.
Not at all. They just went toe-to-toe with Uruguay's physicality. They are exceptionally well organized, and their triggers on the counterattack are just lightning fast.
Saudi Arabia has to be buzzing right now. I mean, they matched a historic powerhouse in Uruguay, and now they smell blood in the water with Spain.
The confidence is definitely there.
If Spain doesn't score in the first 20 minutes, the stadium tension is going to be palpable. Can Spain rediscover its touch before the pressure completely crushes them?
It's going to be a massive mental test.
The prediction here is that Spain responds, eventually finding a way through for a controlled 2-0 victory. What do you think?
It's the logical outcome based on technical superiority. Spain's quality should eventually produce goals if they speed up their transitions like we talked about earlier.
Right, those micro-adjustments.
Exactly. But Saudi Arabia's pace on the break means Spain's defenders, especially their holding midfielder, cannot afford a single lapse in concentration while their teammates are trying to break down the Saudi block.
So it won't be easy.
No, it could be a very uncomfortable first hour for the Spanish side.
And finally, the last match of June 21st, Uruguay versus Cape Verde.
Uruguay wants to dictate the tempo here, but they do it very differently than Spain.
Yeah, they're much more physical, right?
Very. They have elite attacking quality, but they blend it with tenacity and directness.
And Cape Verde.
Well, Cape Verde just executed the perfect blueprint on how to frustrate elite opponents. They will try to replicate that compact structure, deny space centrally, and force Uruguay to beat them from the wide areas with low percentage crosses.
The storyteller in me just loves this matchup so much. because Uruguay has the dark arts, the tournament know-how.
They definitely do.
They know how to survive in the mud when it's a must-win situation. But Cape Verde, I look at them and think it's like trying to catch lightning in a bottle twice.
It's a tough ask.
It's one thing to surprise Spain, who maybe assumed they'd coast to an easy win. It is an entirely different reality to stand in front of a desperate, furious Uruguay who now knows exactly how dangerous you are.
That's a great point.
The element of surprise is just completely gone for Cape Verde.
That is the critical variable here. Uruguay won't be caught off guard by Cape Verde's defensive discipline.
They'll be ready for it.
Right. They won't fall into the trap of sterile possession. They will bypass the crowded midfield with diagonal long balls and use their physicality in the box.
So who takes it?
The prediction here is that Uruguay survives a very difficult test and wins 2-1. Experience and adaptability usually win out when the element of surprise is removed.
Okay, so having previewed these incredible tactical battlegrounds, it's time to zoom out a bit.
Let's look at the big picture.
Yeah. Let's make some fearless forecasts about who is actually going to take control of Groups G and H. We have two key questions to tackle from our deep dive. I'll let you take the first one.
All right, hit me.
Which team has the strongest tactical foundation to actually qualify for the knockout stage?
Okay, so if we are talking pure structural foundation, the ability to control variables and mitigate risk over a 3-game group stage, I really have to look at Belgium and Uruguay.
Even after the early draws?
Yes. Despite the early draws, their systems are mathematically sound over a longer timeline. We are boldly forecasting that Belgium will recover and still finish first in Group G.
Wow, first place.
Yep. Their possession-based control, as I mentioned earlier, is a highly effective defensive tool. Variance evens out, and Uruguay's blend of tenacity and attacking flair makes them incredibly hard to eliminate in a group stage format.
Okay, my turn. The second question. Which underdog is most likely to become the breakout story of these groups?
I'm curious to hear your take on this.
We're looking at a few fearless forecasts here. The sources suggest Cape Verde will remain the tournament's biggest surprise, and that one of the traditional favorites will be pushed to the absolute brink by an underdog before the group stage ends.
Which seems very likely given match day 1.
But the prediction that I am entirely sold on is that Egypt will quietly qualify for the knockout rounds.
Now, that is a fascinating prospect, but it relies entirely on a lack of spotlight and a real commitment to suffering.
Yes, but think about it. Could Egypt be the ultimate tournament tortoise, just quietly inching past all these flashy, stressed-out hairs while nobody is looking?
They certainly have the defensive discipline for it.
Exactly. Spain is panicking. Belgium is making structural adjustments. Iran and New Zealand are running end-to-end, burning all this energy. And Egypt is just calmly absorbing pressure.
Just waiting for their moment.
Grabbing a point here, maybe a gritty 1-0 win there, and suddenly they are in the round of 16 without anyone even realizing how they did it.
That is the beauty and sometimes the frustration of tournament football. You don't have to be the most entertaining team to advance. You just have to be the most effective.
Right. It's about surviving.
If Egypt's defensive organization holds and they continue to execute that judo-style counterattack, that prediction is incredibly sound. The tactical foundation is there to support it, even if it isn't super glamorous.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. We can debate the tactical merits of possession versus counterattacking all day long, and we can map out the psychological pressure, but the reality is, after match day 1, the map simply doesn't care about the narratives.
It really doesn't.
Everyone is perfectly equal right now.
And that brings us to the core theme here. Football has a profound habit of making a complete mockery of analysis.
Oh, doesn't it just?
In these two groups, there are absolutely no guarantees. A tactical plan is only as good as its execution on the pitch.
100%.
One mistake, one brilliant line-breaking pass, one lapse in concentration, and all the pre-match modeling is thrown completely out the window.
Which is exactly why we love the game. After match day 1, every team in groups G and H is level on points, making these two groups some of the most unpredictable in the tournament.
It's totally wide open.
June 21 isn't just another round of matches. It's an opportunity for nations to seize momentum, rewrite expectations, and take a giant step toward the knockout stage. In the FIFA World Cup, one inspired performance can change everything.
It really is a blank slate, but, a blank slate loaded with all the accumulated crushing pressure of a high-stakes finale.
So before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with one final scenario to just ponder on your own. Keep this in the back of your mind as you watch the matches unfold on June 21st.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Imagine you're one of these heavily favored teams, say you're Spain or you're Belgium. You are already feeling the intense heat and the media scrutiny from match day 1.
The pressure is already maxed out.
Exactly. The whistle blows for match day 2. And then against the run and play, you go down a goal in the first 10 minutes.
Oh, wow. Nightmare scenario.
How does that completely level playing field suddenly feel? Does your deeply drilled tactical foundation crumble under the weight of an entire nation's panic? Or does the true champion's mentality finally kick in?
That is the exact moment where the tactical theories end and we find out what these teams are truly made of.
The rope in that 8-way tug of war is going to snap for someone. Keep questioning the narratives, keep watching those tactical shifts, and definitely don't assume you know the ending until the final whistle blows. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.